Transit weather for this week, November 22nd to the 27th. The sun is in gate 34 and the earth is in gate 20.
Love these gates. That's my channel. And it's in opposition, meaning it will show up, 10 to 15% more in the population than will the other 33 channels. So
yeah, so what Danny is saying here is we're looking on our mandala wheel. We continue our walk around the mandala. The 3420 in and of itself makes up its own channel. So the polarity is a channel. And so this is one of 3 specific channels that are this way. So just by the very nature of it, there's going to be more people that have this energy within them because it's a polarity. So whether it's in the sun and the earth or within the nodes, it'll be a bit more common that people have this channel.
absolutely.
All right, so now we have gate 34 is our sun placement. It's power of the great, and it's the gate of power. Power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. It's a sacral gate, and so this one's got a lot going on. So gate 34 it links up with 3 other gates. So this is going to be a lot, so just bear with us, right? So it's a sacral gate. And for 2 of the channels, it's part of the integration circuit, and that's self-empowerment. And so it links up with gate 57, which is intuitive insight. And the 3457 make up the channel of power. And then also it'll link up with gate 20, which is now energy. And the 3420 makes up the channel of charisma. And then its final connection is individual circuitry, which is empowerment, and it's part of the centering circuit. And it links up with gate 10, which is the behavior of the self. And the 3410 make up the channel of exploration. And so gate 34 is potent and impressive source of energy that empowers us toward individuation, displaying and celebrating our uniqueness in the world. And 2 qualities distinguish this gate from the 8 other in the sacral. And first is that it's asexual and that it's power is unavailable to others. So even though gate 34, this pure power energy is admired and often sought after, your energy is simply not available to others. And it must remain pure in its power and always accessible to you as you seek to be independent and unique.
One of the most misunderstood gates in the body graph by the other who does not have it. And by the one who has it, especially by everyone. I just realized that's everyone. That's funny. The misunderstanding is 2 things. It's not available for the other. It's integration, even though it is also part of individual, being individuated. And so it isn't. And that's weird because the other automatically wants it, right? And in that want, it's like it's assumed, oh, it's probably available. If it is, it's only as a responsive nature of it. And the second is its asexuality. It's in the sacral. The sacral is the testicles and the ovaries. It empowers the sexuality of humanity. Granted, the solar plex is what, makes it extra and juicy and all that stuff, all this intimacy that we have in various ways. But it's in the sacral, and it's asexual. Its only job is to empower our survival. And it's like a 2 and a 1. It's like 2 parts straight up survival in the now, 1 part survival as yourself. That's the exploration part. And so it says part of our beautiful design, this grand design of things, is that we are empowered to survive in the now. And you can take this survival across everything, right? You can take it across actual survival, the bear's chasing me, run. You can take it in medium stuff. It's like, oh, it's traffic and it's icy and you're surviving the road trip home, right? You can take it as just mundane stuff. God, I need to survive this conversation, in this moment without losing a friend, without this or whatever, without whatever the thing is that's going on. And it's just pours out, and its melancholy is which moves it. So this is its intelligence maker. So all the individual gates have an intelligence maker, and its intelligence maker is, where do I put my power? And its sadness comes with, I see all these places to put my power, but I can't seem to do anything with it. Or I want it to go here. There's the floods we had, right? How many people just poured through their heart? I want to get down there. I got stuff. I'll bring them water, right? When the floods happened in North Carolina and all that. And And it's still bad down there a little bit. People need help, but not everyone can make it. And that would be the sadness of this gate. And it's so powerful. It simply wants to move. It's, I would call it the prime generated gate, a prime generated gate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pure power. Like the 34 is pure raw power. And I don't have that, obviously. So when I feel that, especially, right, so when you don't have a gate, then you will feel that energy from the other person amplified times two, right? So you're going to double amplify. So when I feel gate 34, I mean, it is insane. It is almost like unbridled. And if I get swept up into it, like it could almost make me nauseous, I have found, when it's like a transit or if I'm around a pure manifesting generator and I'm too caught up in their bouncy ball everywhere nature, it is like dizzying to be on the receiving end of that, and I have to like separate it because it's just such pure power. I mean, it is so powerful.
And I have this channel and I know what it's like to be that person that is too much for the other, and I can't always tell why. At least when I was younger, when I didn't know why, I would get embarrassed. Oh, I went too far. It's like the guy who let a big booger hang out of his nose accidentally. Well, it's embarrassing the way because this power pours out no different than that. If you want to talk about just sheer embarrassment in the
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah, it's
because the
just something
power is
that's happening that you don't really realize.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, whatever. This comes up a lot. I find that sort of funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting for like both sides to understand and like how to work with it, right? Because it's just like I never want to squash anyone else's pure power. Like I don't want to diminish anyone in any capacity. It just might be like I need to stand a little bit away when they're bouncing around everywhere, so I'm not in the middle of it. That's really what it is. Is like if I'm caught in the middle of it, that will mess me up. But that's where I can also have my own sense of agency of like, cool, I love you and I don't want to diminish your power, but I need to be further away from it because,
Right.
it's human design is
Yeah.
about respecting yourself and others.
When the understanding truly creeps in more about this gate for yourself, if you have this gate, it starts to become, I already know I pour in too much. And it sort of helps the other start to relax into, hey, over there a little. Which is what you would like to boil what you just said down to sometimes. Like, yo, come on, over there a little. Like you might to a pet, because this energy is no different than your dog dying, because you just got home and it's all energized, waiting to do it. I can't really find a appreciable difference between these two things in reality. So,
Perfect.
mhm.
All right, next up we have the Earth in gate 20, and this is contemplation, and it's the gate of now. This is recognition in the now, which transforms understanding into right action. It's a throat gate. And so, again, this is going to link up with like 3 different gates. So just bear with us. You don't have to memorize it all. It's part of the integration circuit, which is self empowerment. And that was where it'll link up with gate 34, which we just went over with the sun transit. And that's power. And the 3420 is the channel of charisma. And then it also will link up with the 10, which is the behavior of self. And then the 1020 make up the channel of awakening. And then finally, it's individual circuit, right? Individual think empowerment. And part of the knowing circuit is with gate 57, which is the intuitive insight. And then the 5720 is the channel of the brainwave. So gate 20 is purely existential gate, keeping you focused in the present, supporting your capacity to survive as yourself. When expression is properly timed, awareness will be transformed into words or action that can impact people around you. This energy frequency is and must be totally absorbed in the present moment. I am now.
It's so important to become in the present moment is the thing. It's when it's connected to the 34, it says, where awareness must become deed, because power empowers the what this just instructed you. It only works right now. As soon as you start thinking about it, you're no longer right now. It's only when you're being it. So that becomes your experiment, watching as you are being, or are you thinking about it. And when it's obviously connected to the 57, this is just a penetrating awareness. I'm suddenly aware right now. Boom, shocking. It becomes part of what 57 is part of the 51 when it comes to incarnation crosses, penetration. And then when it's connected to the 10, this awakening is After 34 has empowered the 10 to love itself and look inward, self-exploration, now it's right now is perfect. That's awakening. I am awake. And the channel of awakening says literally that I don't need to have any special awareness to be awake, because there's no awareness centers attached here. It's just, I have surrendered into right now. That is the awakened being. So good news. Everyone's out there being awakened beings all the time, man. You're putting stuff in every single day you live right now. And we're trying to get you to see it so that you can have it more.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
it is really good. I like that. That really like tied it up nicely.
Yeah.
So finally, we have the Incarnation Crosses. And first up will be the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. And this is people with great personal power and charisma who are busy attracting others with their busyness. It's power and intimacy when directed by spirit that serves humanity. Then it'll move into the juxtaposition cross of power. And this is busyness focused on the pure display of charisma or power in support of the community. It's the entertainer or deal making business executive. And then finally, it's the left angle cross of duality. And this is people who bridge humanity's basic dilemma, duality, between the individual charisma or selfishness and communal responsibility. Busyness properly aligned with loving communal support.
This duality surrenders to each other, no different than a channel of surrender, and the ego and the spleen must surrender to each other. It's just incredible the way these two things move. So the sleeping phoenix, I am busy. I am busy. They're all busy, by the way. If you have 3420, I am busy now. And the recognition is to become, I am so busy right now that I am literally only right now. As it moves through then this cross of power, this deal making, I love that, because an aware person will know how to respond such that the power is brokered. We're always brokering our power. Now that's an enlightened, awake, nine-centered thing to do. Hey, Danny, let's do the things. Yeah, let's broker that power. I got the power. Boom, here, contribute, just like we had in the last incarnation. And then in the left angle cross, this duality. So, by the way, so the juxtaposition is fixed on that. Let this powerful person be fixed in it. All your juxtaposition cross people love their fixedness into their way. It's really, they hold their position better than all of us in a way, because of that nature. But in the left angle crosses duality is a surrender. The tribe must be busy. It needs its busy people. The busy people who are unaware, because it is just contemplation in the now of myself. I am now. And it needs the tribe to look out for it. Say, hey, dude, you're still part of us. You know, we need some help. And so the power of I must surrender to. This is the cross where the rubber meets the road, because the power of the individuation meets the most powerful part of the tribe, the emotional, into the ego, this channel of community. And these are both in this incarnation cross. The duality here is incredible. And it's not a duality of opinion, it's a duality of way inside of one person. So don't let them think about it too hard, and don't you think about it too hard. Watch it. It'll constantly give you it's right now. This would be an easy one to see and experiment with by others and yourself. So I love this motion.
Perfect. And finally, we have the hexagrams with our I Ching study of these polarity gates. So the sun is in gate 34, which is power, and it's thunder over heaven. And the image reads, thunder dwells above heaven, great vigor. A noble one treads no path that is without ritual. The action of thunder rests on the underlying principles of heaven. The noble one, acting with great vigor, will not be improvising and adapting as he goes along. Such great energy needs better guidance if it is to avoid injury. He follows ritual. That is, he acts in ways that observe the principles of creation and follows their patterns. It is not so much a matter of respecting the rules for their own sake as of respecting what is known to work because it is in harmony with the nature of things.
That thing hit so many keynotes, I can't even remember them all. It's being directed. That was one of them. The thunder over heaven, that's the description of 34. It's the description that's listed in there. Power that's only good when its use is just and for the greater good. And also, therefore, when it's withholding is for the greater good. Don't forget, it's a response. It's out of the sacral. And once responded, it's designed to simply sustain power. This is like turning on the 220. You know what I mean? And when it's on, it's not turning off until someone flips that circuit breaker. For the generator, that's when it would, fall asleep or move on to something else. But I love thunder over heaven. It's just such a pretty. I like how the thunder is mostly yin.
Yeah, and it's even like when you see like thunder or lightning coming down, then it's just like it's coming down. There's that like jaggediness that it's moving, and then like coming to something like solid and hard.
For some reason, Moni, I get more insight on where the yin is placed than where the yang is placed, and this speaks to what that sleeping phoenix is doing. We were feminine, and then we were masculine, and these two things don't work separately. And
Yeah,
people call it, I forget what they
the
call it
great
these days.
eagle.
Yeah,
It's the great
and
eagle
now
that's flying
waiting
with only one wing and going in a
one
circle. So
wing.
it's like if we're
Yes.
too lost in the feminine, we're one winged eagle, and if we're too lost in the masculine, we're just spinning in circles on the other side. And what is coming together now is honoring both in the sacred complementarity of that masculine and feminine, so that great eagle can fly with both wings.
With both wings to unfurl the thing that grasps the wind and gains flight for all of us, the yin and the yang together. It's such a glorious image.
Absolutely. All right.
Mm.
Then we have the earth in gate 20, which is contemplation, and it's wind over earth. And the hexagram reads seeing. And the image reads wind moves over the earth, seeing. The ancient kings studied the regions, saw the people, and established their teachings. The wind blowing over the earth follows its contours, and so it moves freely and goes everywhere. The influence of the wise kings traveled just as freely because they understood that to convey any idea, share any plan, or impart any wisdom, it works best to be as fluid as the wind. They did not set out to impose a predetermined, rigid curriculum regardless of lived reality. That would have left people unable to relate to the teachings. The ruler has ultimate moral and spiritual responsibility for everything that happens in his kingdom. You are invited to see your life as the king sees his realm, as something you are creating, with all its elements coming together to form a complete image of who you are. This is not an easy thing to see. It strips away whatever other self-image you may have developed, maybe clearing out some preconceptions or plans along with it. When the noble one can step into the newly cleared space to see and own his own life without delusions of grandeur or guilt, he will be able to act without mistake.
The wind over earth. So back to the yin. And so gate 20's contemplation. It's contemplation in the now. It's voice. If you have gate 20, your voice simply says, I am now. I am now. It knows I, it knows am, it knows now. It knows those three things together. And it speaks to the wind, sort of brushing over the earth and bringing the various eddies of things that will impart all the miracles of the majesty of all of our wisdoms with everyone else. You take the things you like, leave the things that aren't for you, and everyone seems to be moving on in the now, according to this gate 20. Well, also, this whole cross moves into a very tribal thing. It's about to become the cross of planning, right? It's about to become the cross, the talented version of the cross of planning, because it's going to move into the 9 and the 16. And so the wind basically fills the earth with the contemplation of its now. It's never the same wind. It can only exist now. And with its thunder over heaven and its great power, it produces the wisdom of now. I love these hexagrams.
Isn't
This
it
is
fun?
amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate also where it's like understand what exists within reality, right? There's just certain truths and reality of like the flow of nature and learning to not fight it, learning to not feel like a victim to it and not constantly fighting it to try to completely remake something in your own image, but understanding that there are absolutes and there are ways that things work and learning how to understand that and work your energy to flow with it. And that ease when we stop fighting it, when we try to stop, turning around the flow of the river and actually just like, okay, this is what I'm working with. Let me work with it knowingly and aware and see where that takes me.
It's amazing, Moni. 34 says, no, my child, surrender to the Buddha that demands you wait. And So I always love waiting till I'm done saying the thing I'm saying because I know it's pouring out. I almost can't stop. And we're like Sonny and Cher or something. Pick a newer version because something always happens where I pour in this yang way by comparison, and it's only given life as a yang way. Now that I think of it, as you follow up with the yin of it all and point to people something so practical and down to earth, I love that. Thank you, Moni.
Thank you, Danny.
So what can people expect? You're busy. You're
Busy,
busy.
busy, busy.
Yeah, you're busy. You got power. It shows up. You're going to feel weird about it if you don't have anything in this channel. Sometimes it might feel a little bit disorganizing because it's like so much right now. You might even get a little confused, or you might have a total single-mindedness that makes you busy enough to want to go do something. Go beat feet. Go beat feet and make sure it feels in a responsive way, uncontrived by the mind. The mind has no place in the now. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for all my like non-sacral defined people, that is a lot of power. The 34 can be a lot, and as Danny said, it can be kind of disorienting or even like a little nauseating or unbridled. So enjoy the energy and also allow yourself that permission to lay down and discharge from it, because it can feel a little, it can almost feel like a tornado, and it can feel just like spinning in all directions, and it can be, disorienting and confusing in that way. So feel the power, enjoy it, play with it, and allow yourself the grace to let rest and lay down so that you don't overwhelm your body with such a surge of electricity. It's almost like if you like plug something in the wrong outlet. If you like go to Europe and you can't use like a hair dryer because it'll like totally blow it, right? Because it's too much of an electrical charge for what that item is made to handle. So feel that, understand it, and also like it's okay to lay down and rest a little bit when that power becomes like too much.
Well, one last thing, though, that just because of what you just said, it's called the channel of charisma. And so charisma sounds like a very fifth liney thing, but this thing is not necessarily fifth liney, other than it is charismatic. When you see someone moving through as themselves, and by the way, this week when this is transiting us, everyone will be this one way, shape, or form. And as you see the thing move through, it is charismatic when that being is in their power in the now moving through, because they're moving through. They can't not be. The power moves them. And that seems, oh, wow, that's very charismatic. Look at that guy, just had all that power right now. Oh, it speaks because the throat speaks. Awareness became deed through what you articulated. And that seems charismatic in the now. Watch that. Watch that take place. It's an amazing power to have.
Absolutely. So have some fun with it. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.